Good morning, everyone. We are here live on Facebook today. Thought I'd show some love to the many friends and followers that I have on Facebook. I've been doing some live Instagram on Instagram, and today it's my pleasure to hopefully connect with all of you here on this platform. So as stated in some posts that you may have seen, on some posts that you may have seen, oh God, I have to, okay, here we go. Hi everyone, just saying hello to everybody. I wanted to address today something that I think is quite salient and pertinent in all our lives, especially given the difficulties that we're going through. Hi. We are dealing with difficult times. Leaders find themselves more and more having to feel challenged with dealing with difficult people and having to have really hard conversations with them. There's a lot of conflict coming up. A lot of things are showing up that never used to show up before because just tensions are at an all-time high. And the reason why I'm going to be going through some pointers that we all know already is because I did a little research, and for me, the stats are alarming. Alarming in terms of what's not being done. So this is a call to leaders. Come on. What are you doing or what are you not doing is more appropriate as a question. Okay? So let me give you some stats before we get into the messiness of this, okay? So out of every employee, or as I like to call them, team members, work week, which on average is anywhere between 37 and a half to 38 hours, some even 40 hours a week, they spend almost 3 hours a week in conflict with someone, something, an unresolved issue. That's a lot, wouldn't you say? That's a lot of time, especially if you use a multiplier throughout the year. That's a lot of hours every year spent doing absolutely nothing but sitting in conflict. Okay? 33% of employees that have conflict report that it usually ends up in some sort of physical injury. I find that to be unbelievably alarming. Don't you? That they end up actually in a physical entanglement over some sort of conflict that can otherwise be resolved if proper procedures and policies are in place, and if department heads are also involved in mediation here, but we'll get to that later. 22% of employees that have experienced conflict usually end up being physically ill by them. They actually stay home. They don't even go to work. So that's a lot of sick leave to pay as well, wouldn't you say? 32%, despite all things that could be set into place, despite leaders being notified, despite HR being involved, regardless of what is established, notwithstanding, 32% of employees still deal with conflict on a regular basis. And lastly, 35% of employees actually leave their job to go somewhere else, not because they're not happy with the salary or the workload or the hours or their team or their leader, simply due to conflict. So, I don't know about you, but I thought it was important today to address this because the stats, data doesn't lie. Data never lies. It has a great way of crystallizing all of these notions that we may have, that we may think are happening, but this in fact confirms empirically that this is what's taking place when you go to work or when you're involved, either when you go to work or even now remotely. It does not alter the percentage of conflict that you're facing because you still need to engage with your teams, your leader, your customers, suppliers, whomever, okay? So what this tells me in terms of the information that I just provided you is that there seems to be a disconnect between owners, HR. Where are you in all this? This is a call to you as well. Goes hand in hand with the vision that the leader has for their team and their business, along with HR, who's responsible for the human management, the collective human management and brain power that exists at the workplace, over and above fulfilling a job by hiring the right candidate. It's also a matter of implementing psychology to see that there's a flow, there's a fluidity, that conflict is monitored and conflict is addressed, handled, and hopefully resolved. So let's focus on that. Let's focus on getting all the department heads to talk to each other to acknowledge that this is a serious, ongoing problem. So what's a leader to do? Let's go through some points. Consider this a refresher for you. Hi to everybody, by the way. Thank you for joining. This is fantastic. I think the first thing that you need to do is to be super clear about what the issue is. And there's two questions you need to ask yourself. What about this difficulty this person is experiencing is causing a problem? And how is it affecting my team and my business? These are the only two questions you need to ask. And when you've identified what it is, your job as a leader prior to sitting down with this person is to establish 3 bullet points to address the issue. You don't need to go on and on and on for half an hour in discussing and going in a roundabout way. You go straight on, and 3 points you raise in terms of what the issue is and what you've identified that it could potentially be in 3 bullet forms. That's it. Done. Let's move on to the next. Then you need to be clear about what your objective is, okay? There's a saying that says, it's not about reshuffling cards, it's about creating new cards, right? So you need to, at this juncture, your objective has to be to establish proper actionable items with this individual, this group, whomever the conflict lies with. You need to establish these actionable items as to how you will tackle conflict going forward. So the questions to be asked are, did we agree to disagree or did we agree unilaterally? What exactly did we agree on to do or to handle? How to handle the situation? Going forward, what are some of the tools that we will implement in order to avoid another situation like this going forward? What's the potential for a conflict to arise again? And what are the telltale signs that we can spot next time to deal with it almost instantaneously? Actionable items. Super, super important. It's important for a leader to have a mindset for inquiry. All good leaders normally seek the greater truth in every situation. It's imperative that you don't go in with a preconceived notion, drawing up already your conclusions as to what the matter is without allowing the person that you're trying to get a better understanding that you have a conflict with. Give them the value, the platform that they deserve to express what it is that they're having difficulty with. So be of open mind and empathetic, empathic, comforting, all of these things that lend to somebody being neutralized in terms of discomfort and allowing for a conversation to take place. Number 3 for me, I think this is huge, is you have to manage emotions. So back in the day, as they say, they used to say you got to leave your emotions out of work. It's not so. More and more today, we're seeing that leaders need to have not just an IQ, but a very high level EQ when it comes to managing their teams. So your emotional quotient needs to be very active, dynamic, proactive, and always needs to be worked on. And you need to know when to apply it. Albert Einstein famously said that each emotion has its own path, and that's absolutely true. You need to allow that process to happen when engaging in conversation with someone that's creating conflict for you. And you need to stay in your core, always neutral, and allow whatever it is that they need to purge and vent to come out. Because when you do that, when you allow that to happen, guess what? 50% of the work is already done for you. Because there's no longer this need to manage the emotion. You're managing it by staying neutral and allowing them just to expulse whatever it is that they've been retaining inside them. And then they'll see that a calmness will ensue, and then you'll be able to actually talk to each other, which is the goal here, is to talk to each other. You gotta be, this is an important one, so a lot of people have difficulty with. You need to be comfortable with silence. Have you ever noticed that whenever you walk into a room and two people are engaged in conversation that don't really, there's a level of discomfort. They almost feel triggered to continue talking and talking and talking and saying whatever comes to their mind, even if it's nonsensical and it doesn't pertain to anything that they're dealing with at the moment. You gotta really learn to stay silent. State your case, state the purpose, and then just draw back and stay silent. Silence is a huge propeller to neutralize things and to allow for information to just sit there and just allow for some reflection, like I'm doing right now. When you leave a moment of silence, people, just have a moment to gather their thoughts and their feelings, and they can come back at you in a much more congenial, objective, okay, and a solution-oriented way, which is what we're trying to establish here, solutions. You have to be mindful, this is one that annoys me, of people that come at you with thwarting ploys. What does that mean? People that come at you with a lot of sarcasm, accusatory tones, and just plain old stonewalling. No matter what you say, they're not engaging. They're not engaging with you. It's like a bratty child who just doesn't want to listen to their parent and is going to go about and do what they want to do anyway. And whatever you say, they don't really look at you as someone of authority, okay? So those are the people that, rather than you antagonize them by oppressing them, allow that to take place and you calmly counteract by staying calm and allowing them to see that they're not going to get a rise from you, because that's why they're doing that. They're doing that to get a rise out of you. They're doing that to get a rise out of you. So we've touched upon the more important subjects. I think it's important to always be mindful that you want to have a nurturing, continuing dialogue between you and the people that you have conflict with and difficult conversations with. It's a work in progress. It doesn't just happen from one day to the next. If you are willing and they see that you're putting effort at some point from a human condition perspective, they will eventually engage more and more. But you need to set that tone. You need to let them know that you're willing to work at this, that they matter, that they're valued, that what they have to say, what they're disgruntled about matters to you. And that you, in turn, need to show them that you're actually being proactive about what it is that is causing the difficulties. So get together with your HR department or other department heads if you don't have an HR department, and just buckle down and establish a policy protocol whereby you can spot certain things that can arise in a workplace, in a team or with an individual, and already have not a preset answer, but some sort of solution, because you've seen it before. Come on, we don't see new problems. We see problems, the same problems over and over and over again. It's just new people offering them. So it's not necessarily establishing a new angle. It's establishing the fact that you already have experience and are able and ready to tackle it the moment you spot it. So let's be proactive. It's not just about doing the work and not minding the store. You need to mind the store by minding the people too. So this is my call to all leaders today. It's incumbent upon you to establish the work environment that reflects the vision that you have for your business. And I know that you are wishing and hoping that it is as conflict-free as possible. So I think it's a pretty big deal. They're simple pointers. They're things that we think about, but we never do. Why is that? And we obviously don't do them. If you just want to reference back to the stats that I gave you, there's a lot of people out there, they're just not doing this. So come on, let's do this. Let's do this right. Let's do this now. Now is the time with everything that we're dealing with here. We're all in this from the same perspective. We're all dealing with heightened anxiety, heightened tension. The marketplace is difficult. Deals are difficult. Suppliers are not hard to find. So now is the time maybe to hone in and to sharpen those skills that we've always taken for granted because we were too busy doing the business and not handling the business at home. So I hope that this has helped you somehow, imparted some wisdom, and please link to the bio down below if you want to connect with me and if you want to have a continuing dialogue with me. I would love to speak with you directly about this because I'm pretty sure, like I am facing difficulties, I'm sure you are too. So I empathize, I am with you, and I am holding all of you alongside me to be able to power through this to the best of our ability and to create a better tomorrow for everybody. Okay? You be good. Have a great day.